Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Michi Makes Up. Today in this video, I want to show you guys my favorite makeup products from the first half of this year. I did this video last year and it seemed to have been pretty well received. You guys enjoy favorite types of videos, and I myself actually really like favorites videos as well. So it was fun putting together all of these products to show you guys today. What I did not include in this video are going to be makeup tools, specifically makeup brushes. I have acquired a number of brushes this year and I enjoy using most of them. If I were to include them, this would be an hour and a half, 2 hours long video. So in the interest of time, we're just only going to talk about makeup. And before I get into the first item, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Consider giving this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and ring the bell to get notified every time new content is released. I do review a lot of luxury makeup and occasionally luxury skincare. The first item I have on my list are the Dior Forever liquid lipsticks. These are the most long-lasting lipsticks that I have in my collection, and they are of a matte finish. So this will dry down a bit more, and I think this sheen that you're seeing is going to disappear, but they will not budge. And the interesting thing about these lipsticks too is that while they have that longevity and they will have very minimal transfer even on a face mask, they don't actually feel as drying on the lips as you would be made to think. So it has a combination of being pretty moisturizing for a matte liquid lipstick and has the long-lasting power. So for that reason, I've included these on my favorites because they really are in a class of its own when it comes to my makeup collection. And the criteria I use to put together this list consists of whether or how often I grab for the product. Is it inspiring? Like an eyeshadow palette, for example, does the color story make me want to carve out time to use it? Even if it's not something I use every day. And third, is it something that really is an excellent product within its category? So if it's foundation, for example, how does it compare to the other foundations I've tried? So I think this, in particular, these lipsticks fit within, category 3, because while I don't grab for them and they don't necessarily, inspire me in a particular way, I do find that they are excellent long-lasting lipsticks that are not too drying for a matte finish. For that reason, I've included these on my favorites list for the first half of the year. The second item I have here is Chanel's. This is their Le Lion lipstick, and this is actually a radiant matte finish. I included this lipstick on my list because of this shade. And I actually quite enjoy this radiant matte. So it's matte, but not quite, you can see the comparison. There's a little bit of a sheen. So anytime you have a lipstick, the more sheen a lipstick has, the more hydrating it is. So I think for not quite a matte, but still considered to be one, I just love the shade and the finish combination. This is in the shade 227 Beige Rougissant, and these are called Rouge Allure Velvet. I only purchased 2 when this came out, but I feel like I picked, one of my favorite shades in my lipstick collection. So that's why I've included this in my favorites. And later on, when I talk about another Chanel product, I'm going to talk about this lipstick again, but we'll wait until we get there. I think the two just pair so beautifully together. Next, I have lipstick, and this is from Suku. This is their 104 shade. I think this is Yushaku. And it's the Comfort Lip Fluid Glow, but it also has sparkly specks in it. I really enjoy the Fluid Glow formula from Suku. It's not drying, and it has that, glossy finish that I really like from time to time. But in addition to that, this is a red that I could wear. I enjoy a good, true red, with that blue undertone, like a red lip. But for me, it's not as easy to carry. I have to think about or be conscious about the rest of my makeup and what I'm wearing to really pull off that kind of red lip. For some people, it's their go-to color and it just looks stunning on them. But for me, I really do have to think about it and plan ahead of time. But a shade like this, could go with like a lot of different eye makeup looks I like. So for that reason, I've included it on this list. And then after that, I also have another lipstick. This is from Hermes. This is a limited edition in a satin finish. This is Beige Ébloui. Beige Ébloui is so easy to wear. And I'm glad I'm putting it, you know, almost next to this Chanel shade. It's got a little bit more pink, and this is more terracotta in comparison. But I love how easy this is to wear. If I don't know what color to put on and I don't want a nude concealer lip, I just go for this because it has that pink and brown warm undertones to it. So very, very easy to carry. So we've talked about matte liquid lipsticks, a velvet matte finish, a gloss finish with the Suku, a satin finish lipstick with the Hermes. How could we not talk about lip gloss? I have here from Westman Atelier, these are her Squeaky Clean liquid lip balms, and they wear like a lip balm, they fade like a lip balm. They have this lemon citrus scent to them, gorgeous, like they smell beautiful, and clean formulation, just this combination is hard to beat. While I will talk about another clean formulation lip product I really like later on, I think these just, you know, should get a lot of love because they are basically tinted lip balms with a little bit more pigment and with a clean formulation, and they smell great. So I do enjoy these a lot. So moving away now from lip products, I guess you guys are wondering, is this only going to be about lipsticks and lip glosses? No, there's going to be foundation, highlighters, blush, face powders. Next I have here is the 4 Looks Mineral Eyeshadow Palette from Kogan Do. This one really took me by surprise. I actually have not tried anything of Kogan Do's until I picked up this palette that was released maybe 2.5 months ago, and it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. The color payoff is light, so what you get from it is, I think I just described it as very elegant. You get very elegant looks. I love using these set of shades here for a look and then popping in a really glistening bright shade in the center to give it more dimension and make it pop. But it just looks so suitable for daytime work if you're going into a serious meeting, you know, in person or on Zoom. I just think these are, I mean, it's excellent, and it just sits so beautifully. They have this brightening and blurring effect on your lids. And this one took me by surprise and I love it. Next I have blushes from Lisa Eldridge. These are her enlivening blushes. The reason why they're not higher up on the list is, while I love these bright shades, so I have Mountain Walk here, Pink Poetry, and Island Glow. Island Glow is my favorite out of the bright shades. The product is, first of all, hard to get out. I'm not even, now there's a little bit coming out here. So you really have to go in it. And while you don't need a lot, you just need, I need this much. And that's more than enough. It's so pigmented that for me, I'm just not skilled enough. Even if I put that little speck on there, sometimes I really have trouble blending it out, and because it's so pigmented, it's not very forgiving. If you have like texture on your skin, if it's a day where maybe my cheeks are a little dry, it just grabs onto that texture and makes it harder to blend. So it's a steep learning curve with these, and it also depends on what my skin is like that day for these to like go well. So that's why I haven't ranked it as high as I otherwise would have. Now on the other hand, Pink Soap here is very easy to use. It's also easy to get the product out. So like that, and I feel like it's just kind of different. I think the shade calls for a slightly different formulation and just makes it easy. Because of this color as well, it's also very forgiving. If you put a little bit too much, that's okay. And if you don't have enough, go back in for a second application, and it's just easy. Whereas this, you could really, I mean, that's plenty, right? For blush, it's just plenty. So it's just different that way. I do enjoy the packaging of these, by the way, because they remind me of acrylic paints, and I think there's some things just so fun about that. It's like painting your face when you put on makeup, so this really reminds me of that. The next product I have is Dior's Powder No Powder. This can be used as a setting powder for your makeup or a finishing powder. It has oil control, and it actually has a bit of a sheen texture to it, and it's absolutely beautiful. You might not be able to see this very much. Yeah, just a little bit from this angle. It's really beautiful, and I know a lot of people who just really love this. You know, they've hit pan already, and the shade that I have is 1 Neutral. The reason why this is not placed higher on the list is the scent. And I don't know which Dior perfume this is, but I really wish this was unscented. It dissipates for the most part, but I feel like with the amount of options I have for powders, I don't need something that has a scent, as beautiful as this is. So for me, it's more like, I'll take it out and use it for those special occasions, and I definitely think about it. So that's why it's still on the list, but I wish it was unscented. So that's my biggest complaint. And the next product I have here is a Dior Quint. This is Cruise Look, and this is inspired by their Cruise collection from 2022, so next year. And the reason why I chose this, I have a number of Dior palettes, but this one stood out to me, anything that was released this year, is how nice these shadows are to use and put together a look. But they're not quite, this middle shade here, that pop of color, gives you the ability to build more dimension into your look, so there's more variety. Otherwise, this would be a fairly neutral look with a bit of gold, and you know, you can use this to lighten up your inner corners and put it in the center of your lid or on the center of your lid, and that's kind of it. But with this middle pop of color, you can deepen anything, or you can use it as like your upper lash line liner. There's just more versatility. And these shades are all in a satin finish, so I think it's really on theme and goes really well. When the Cruise collection is available, I'm interested to see how this would be a nice match with that, with the clothing and bags that will come out with it. So that's why I've chosen this as the representative Dior Quint for my list. Then I have the iPods from Westman Atelier. This is her Les Jours set. And really the one shade that made all the difference is Tobacco. This is something I grab for when I don't have a lot of time in the morning and I need to, you know, get ready quickly and out the door in just minutes. I take this and a brush. I have a brush dedicated just to Tobacco. And I put it all over my lids, and if I want to do something a little bit more, like I have 10 seconds more to spare, I just put it under the under lash line, and that is a look, and that's all I do. So I could probably rank this a bit higher, but I think given that I don't grab for these two shades really often, when you average it out, I feel like, you know, where it sits on the list is appropriate. But I love Tobacco, clean formulation again, since it's Westman Atelier, and I just love how easy it is. These are basically, you know, 2 one and done shadows. I'll show you the other shades. We have Neige. So it is that, you know, inner corner brow bone highlight. Some people, depending on your skin tone, you might just be able to use that as your one and done shade. I can't. And then this is Chocolat, which is really beautiful too. Sometimes I do use Chocolat to deepen the outer corners and to give the look like a little bit more dimension. I'll mix it in with Tobacco. And so that is why I have the iPods on my list. Next, I have 2 palettes from Viseart. It is part of the Étendu series, and the Étendu palettes all come with different, I guess, packaging, compact with the graphic art, and I love them all. I just love the they're really on theme, and I just love how each one is different. You've got these little details here, like this ribbon matches the palette. It's so cute. I put these as equal to each other on my list because I just couldn't choose which color story I like more. And this is Soleil La Plage, inspired by summer, the beach. This is Paris Love Letter, which is inspired by gardens, romance, and I guess soft floral petals, and you got some really beautiful metallics here. You got really wonderful metallics on this palette too. Like, I just couldn't decide. I think this pop of green is just gorgeous. This metallic here too. I mean, so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. You have everything you need to create multiple looks, and that is the case with all Viseart palettes. But then you've got these yellow shades here. I immediately gravitate towards them. This pop of color. Look at that. And this shade is found on their Koi palette, which is sold out currently, and I don't know if they're gonna bring it back. I'm gonna compare this with the green from Love Letter. I know, I think they're just stunning. These are palettes that I find very inspiring, and I enjoy carving out time, or I enjoy thinking about like, what eyeshadow look do I want tomorrow? Let me grab for Viseart, because I'm gonna be able to create a look just looking at this that'll be, you know, fun and different. So they're easy enough to use, these color stories. You don't need to be a pro, but there's just enough there, colors and variation, that makes you maybe get out of your comfort zone or try something different. So I enjoy these quite a bit. Then I have the Pat McGrath Divine Rose blushes. This is in Flirtatious in a satin finish, and it is my favorite blush that I got from hers. I think you guys are beginning to see a pattern with my color choices, how similar they are to each other, like how matchy-matchy they can be. And I think this type of shade is not only, or these type of shades is not only something that I like, it also looks good on my skin tone, so that is why. And of the powder blushes that were released this year, I thought Pat McGrath nailed it with her release. Silky smooth, and they just have the right color payoff, and there were a good amount of shades to choose from, so that is why. Unfortunately, I've just been grabbing for cream blushes a lot and haven't spent enough time, but I'll definitely come back around to this blush. And speaking of Pat McGrath, the next item is also from her. This is the Divine Highlighter in Nectar. Beautiful. So pretty. This is something I'm gonna leave on my vanity, and you can transform your blush with it as well. I'm gonna leave on my vanity because I wanna definitely use this week, but beautiful. I think she really nailed it, not only the blushes, but this highlighter as well. It's actually my favorite powder highlighter from her. And speaking of highlighter, I have another highlighter here. This is from Lisa Eldridge. It is the Elevated Glow in Crystal Nebula. You guys have seen me use this highlighter a number of times, and it is so pretty. Interesting putting it next to the Pat McGrath one. This definitely has a metallic finish to it, but it doesn't feel heavy. It actually feels really refreshing on the skin and nice. And because it's liquid, in a way, it's easy to manipulate. Like if your skin is kind of dry, or maybe there's some texture, I feel like this is more forgiving than a powdered product. And because we're on a roll with complexion products, I have these two, which is the Hydrating Gelée blushes from Chantecaille, Happy and Lively. Those are the two shades. Let me swatch them for you. You guys have also seen me use Happy quite a number of times in recent videos. And these have a cooling effect, I guess because they're supposed to be hydrating. That's why they have a bit of a cooling effect to them. And they're so easy to use. So in contrast to the Lisa Eldridge blushes, I would say, given the shade and the pigmentation of these, they're just more forgiving. If you apply too much, it's really easy to buff out, and you can add in more applications and layers if you want more concentrated color. They are buildable. And they also have a kind of like a shimmery finish to them. So they do give you that kind of subtle radiance. All right, we are halfway through this list. So if you're still with me, we're gonna get into more eyeshadow now. I have here 2 of the Chanel Le Beige eyeshadow palettes in Tender. Beautiful. I have to, when I first got this and I put together a video for it, I thought, wow, this is so pretty. And I ended up kept going for this palette, but I had to stop myself and say, okay, no, you're gonna try something else today. So try not to use Tender only for the next 2 weeks. Besides Tender, there's also Intense. These were released at the same time. They are both equally beautiful. So it comes down to preference. Very easy to use. I think these are like your kind of high-end or luxury eyeshadows, and it's very on theme with Chanel. When the photos of these were released or leaked, maybe, I don't know if they were leaked, but they did, you know, we always get makeup news before the stores themselves know what they're getting sometimes. But when these came out, I thought, because I don't have anything from the Le Beige collection, I thought it'd be a good way for me to get into it. But when they actually came out and people started getting them, everybody so far has really loved them. So I love these 2, really enjoy them, and they've made it pretty high on the list for that reason. Next, I have some one and done eyeshadows. I have the Luminescent Eye Shade from Chantecaille. You guys have seen me, again, use this pretty often recently. I have the shade Pangolin. Pangolin is in a class of its own. And let me show you, try to show you what I mean. And it has this like pink silvery shift to it with that lavender undertone. This is Cheetah. Cheetah is the shade I love to pair with my Kogendo. Whenever I use this set of colors here, I'll pop Cheetah on to really make the center pop, and it makes me look like, you know, my eyes are maybe deeper set. It's just more dimensions. I love that play on manipulating how the light reflects back when it hits your eye. So love Cheetah. That's like my go-to if you need that instant pop of brightness on your look. And then Pangolin is of its own because of that shift. And I do have a few other luminescent eye shades, an Elephant and Lion, which are beautiful on its own, but I think Pangolin is the one that stands out because of that, you know, the pinky silvery specks that you see. It's pretty special. So I really, anyways, they're all great. They're all great. They're all like one and done shadows, and they're excellent. And then the next one and done shadow, also from Chantecaille, but in this shade, Starfish. So you could actually pair Pangolin. You can put that on top of Starfish if you want a more glistening look. But this you can blend out, and it looks like you've, you know, done some kind of not mysterious, but it looks like you've like put more effort than just putting one shade on and blending it out. It just has that instant dimension to it. So I'm just tapping on Pangolin to show you guys. It's really beautiful. If you like purple, I think these 2 combos, like either one of these, but both of them together, beautiful. We're on a roll with purple, and I have another purple color story for you. This is Chanel's latest quad. It is Douceur et Sérénité, and I created a look with this. I think it's so beautiful. So easy on the eyes, effortless and beautiful. if you enjoy purple, but sometimes you think like, oh, I don't know how I'm gonna put together a look, and what if it doesn't look good, or it just doesn't look blended in, this is your solution. This shade right here will buff out, like blend in, make disappear any seams you don't like from your look, and it would still look good. You can't overdo it either. It's excellent. I think this combination, from just looking at it like this, might not stand out, because the other quad that came out with at the same time is Lumiere, that has like gold, and I think a lot of people were drawn to that gold and brown color story, but this one is the standout out of the two, and I enjoyed this more than the Le Beige, like both of the Le Beige eyeshadow palettes, so that's why it sits pretty high on the list. Next I have the Byredo Disco palette. I love this palette so much, and there's something about, all the textures are of this metallic finish, so the looks you get from it, and some are more intense, like these two are more intense than this shade right here, and the looks you get from it are not that varied, but I love it all the same. This is Rose Gold shade, so pretty, but I love it all the same. The quality of the shadow, they're just so beautiful. They just like go on forever and ever. And you can carry this compact. It comes with like a drawstring pouch. Take it with you. It's just so easy. There's something just, I don't know, I think it's the brand, it's the aesthetic that I think is really cool. They released another palette, a limited edition palette called Prism, or is it Prismic? I'll check on that and have the information below. And it just really invited experimentation. It was very colorful. It had different finishes. But ultimately, it was this palette that I grabbed for because of the shade combination and the finish. When I think of, or when I look at Disco, it reminds me of two other palettes. They're not the same, but because the eyeshadows, the finish, and the quality are similar, it reminds me of the Burberry Runway palette. This palette, when it was available on the US Burberry website, I think sold out in a couple of hours. The reason why I didn't include it on this list is it's just accessibility. The accessibility of it, I hope they bring it back. I think they will. So I'll definitely put updates on my Instagram when I see it back in stock. The thing with accessibility is they also don't sell them in store or in the Burberry stores around the nation. Not all of them carry makeup, so your only option then is to buy from the website, and just a company of that size just selling out so quickly is a little baffling. So, I'm sure production challenges is one of the things, but I think they will bring it back. But yeah, that's the reason why it's not on this list. It does remind me of the Byredo color story once again, especially this red shade here. I feel like it just kind of belongs there, and so they have the same vibe and same idea. The other palette Disco reminds me of is the House of Sillage Quint. The color story is, not the same, but the quality of the shadows, and all three that we're looking at now, they're made in Italy, so they have that same or very similar texture. I enjoy the House of Sillage palette as well, although it's not something I grab for too often. And when I think about, metallic, really creamy, easy to blend pigmented shadows, I'll go for the Byredo one over this. So that's why it's not on the list either. Next, we have possibly my favorite highlighter from this year. This is the Chanel Fleur de Printemps, and it is the highlighter and blush combo. It's highlighter. So pretty, and then the blush. It's just this terracotta shade. I'm putting it right here along with the highlighter. Swatch by itself too. It's so pretty, and I love pairing it. When I mentioned this earlier with that lipstick. Right here, the shade. You can see this combination, and I love wearing these together. And while it didn't come out at the same time, they were actually adjacent to each other. I think this lipstick came out first, and then the Fleur de Printemps, part of their summer collection. I think it's just perfect. If you're into terracotta, I do recommend this lipstick. I think the highlighter and blush duo is sold out on Chanel's website. You might still find it in store or through other online retailers. I will check and have a link below if it's still available. We're down to the last 10 items. I don't know who is still with me at this time, but I hope you won't be disappointed. I hope you find something that, you know, either you already have and agree with, or something that might spark your interest into looking into. Most of these items are products that I use every time I put on makeup, or products I use almost every day. Most of them. And that's probably a big reason why they're in top 10, because they're my trusted products, they're my best friends. You know, if I wanted to look radiant, look awake, presentable, or I just want to stand out, you know, I'm going out for the evening or I'm doing something and I just like want to look my best, I still use these products. Like, I still would trust these. So for that reason, they're in top 10. At number 10, we have the Sicily Le Fito Rouge. These are hands down my favorite satin lipsticks with that kind of full pigmentation. They are extremely comfortable and unscented. I love these. Typically when I order makeup, especially lipstick to review, I'll order a couple of shades, and well, sometimes I do like all of the shades, but usually I don't go back and order more shades because I have a lot of lipsticks now and I feel like, you know, I'm good. What I order, I'm good. I don't go back. There are some exceptions, and these Fito Rouge is one of those exceptions. So I really, really enjoy these. If I want that just solid color pigmentation with a satin finish and not too drying, but it just has that like wow color to it, I go for these. Then I have the Victoria Beckham Cell Rejuvenating Primer in Golden. I don't think anybody is surprised if you have been watching this channel to see this on the list. So this is Golden. I've gone through one with the, or in the regular shade, but Golden is just beautiful. I'm running out of room, so that's why I'm awkwardly swatching on my knuckle for you. But you can see the glisten you get from it, and it adds radiance and a tint of color. It could also be a product you use if you don't want to put on any foundation, or you feel like you don't have to, you know, put on foundation. It just gives you a tint, radiance. I can see people putting on a little bit of cheetah for radiance on the lid, mascara, and you're ready to go. So I love this. I don't know if I can ever go back to regular after I use Golden. Also feels really nice on the skin. I wouldn't say it noticeably makes my makeup last longer, but it does not add to my oiliness. I have combo skin. It doesn't add to the oiliness. It does actually help moisturize the skin, so I think it's a beautiful product overall, especially with that tint. Then I have Natasha Denona's Circo Loco palette. This might be a surprise for some that I ranked this in top 10. Circo Loco is what I have on my eyes today. It is the perfect example of a color story that I find very inspiring and makes me want to experiment. And the past 2 weeks I've been thinking, every time I went to go get a palette, I was like, oh, I need to get back or go back to Circo Loco, look at all these fun shades. Like, there must be something else. There must be so many more looks I can create. Whether I know what they should look like at the end, I just need to go and experiment. So the look I have today, I used, it didn't turn out very well in the beginning, so I just kept adding on different shades. Then I find that it most resembled the cover here. But initially I was like, let me use this shade here, and then I'll pop on, you know, these seem like unlikely combos. I'll pop this on here, and then I kind of went to maybe this shade, which really didn't do anything for me. And then I started adding this shade here to blend in, and then it started, you know, looked a little bit more interesting. And then I went to this shade to put into the crease. And then went into this shade to add to the outer corners. You know, then it started looking more interesting. And even though the shades aren't what you would say off the bat, like really cohesive, it kind of came together and looked interesting. So inspiration for experimentation. That is why I love this palette from Natasha Denona. The next two items I'm going to just talk about really quickly here. These are my go-to items, my trusted, my best friends. Beautycounter's brow gel in the shade Light. It has enough pigmentation for me to use to fill in my brows and, you know, comb them, lift them. So I really love this. Clean formulation as well, which is important to me. And then the Merit Beauty mascara. This is the best non-smudging mascara I've used. So clean formulation, great, and also performs extremely well in its category of mascara. So that is why it sits so high on my top 10 list. Then we have here from Victoria Beckham, the matte bronzing brick in 02. I use this every time I put on makeup. This lighter shade is to warm up areas on my skin, and I use this for contour. Love it. Then I have the Westman Atelier Baby Cheeks Blush in Minette. This is my favorite cream blushes of all the cream blushes that I have, which it's quite a bit. I have a nice, you know, handful in my collection. But this I just keep going back to because it has that combination of, it's like that pretty corally pink, but it also has a little bit of shimmer for radiance. And it's very emollient, clean formulation, and it stays on all day. Actually, all the cream blushes I have just stay on. They don't budge. But this being both emollient and hydrating, and it stays on, it has the right shade and the shimmer to it. I love this. Okay, we're down to the top three. Third place for Merit Beauty. This is the tinted lip oil from them. I don't know what life was like without this tinted lip oil. These I just keep in my purse. In fact, I have a second one in the shade, I think, Au Naturel, and I don't know where it is because I just keep taking them with me. This is the pigmentation, and you can build on it. I mean, for how clean formulation and how pigmented it is for a lip oil, and it's so comfortable. I don't need lip balm. This is like plenty hydrating for my lips. And so between the pigmentation, the hydration, the clean formulation, it's also unscented. That's why it's number 3. And the shade that I just swatched for you is Pink Beat. At number 2 is Lisa Eldridge's Sheer Lipstick. It is what I have on today. They are sheer in payoff, but you can build on it, and I would consider these pretty pigmented lipsticks. I am wearing Dance Guard. Such a lovely, lovely shade. They are very comfortable for being lipsticks. I've had this on for, I think, about 6 hours at this point, and I have touched up twice. I had it on while I was having lunch, so I touched up afterwards and then once more before I started filming this video. The other shade I really love is Painterly. Gives you that bitten lip look. And then the stunning, I think the most stunning shade that I can comfortably wear is Love of My Life. It's like a fuchsia pink. Love it. And I love the packaging, the case. It's just so luxurious. I mean, it's apt for the name. Luxuriously Lucent Lipsticks. Perfect. I just love these. I love seeing them in my purse too. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's so beautiful. And she's got her logo. And at number 1, I don't think this is a surprise if you saw my video on this brand. It's Merit Beauty's complexion, or what is it called? The Minimalist Complexion Stick. I got the shade Bisque from Merit, actually. They sent this to me, and it's what I'm wearing for kind of all over. And then I got a second on my own, so I paid for this one, in linen for under the eyes and any areas that I want to highlight, to both conceal and highlight. This product you can use as a all over face foundation and concealer. It just has that consistency. I love it. It's double duty. It works just fine on my combo skin, and it just lasts all day. I think it sits better than the Westman Atelier foundations, which I enjoy as well, but I didn't put them on this list because I just don't grab for them. This is what I go to every day, every time I put on makeup. There you go. That is my list. We looked at 30 different, well, not exactly 30 items, because in some of the spots, there were 2 items in one spot, so 30 spots of different makeup products. Some of them were in pairs, and I am just amazed at, first of all, how much makeup I bought this year. But second of all, how many great products there are. I think when you have so many brands competing, we as consumers really benefit, because it generally gives motivation and drive for companies to come up with better products to stand out. And I love all my clean formulation brands. I think they're wonderful. I really believe in what they do. There is one brand that in particular is absent. It is Suku. I talked about the Comfort Live Fluid Glow, which I was even hesitant to put in because it was just so difficult to get the product. But I really do love their quads, so I'm going to show the one that is not limited edition, which you can still get. So I will show that one. This is Hikari Gure from their kind of all year round non-limited edition. I think this is really pretty, but I don't grab for it, which is why it didn't make it on the list. The other quad that I have of Suku's that is also not limited edition is not something I grab for often either. Anything from Suku's in terms of eyeshadow that I do go for, they're limited edition. You can no longer get them. Maybe some of them will come back in stock, but the 2 or 3 I'm thinking of, I just don't know. And I just felt like, you know, what's the point of bringing this up on a favorites when people don't even have a chance? So that is why I've left it off my list, but I do love Suku eyeshadows. They're just beautiful, like soft pigmentation, really kind of Japanese style of makeup, soft color payoff, like water painting or watercolor. You get this beautiful swatch of color. And I always enjoy seeing their pairings, their color stories. Some of them are not quite anything I've seen before, so it does give me inspiration and makes me want to, you know, sit down and try to play with this palette, figure out what's the look that best suits me. Thank you guys so much for watching. For those of you who have watched all the way to the end, thank you. Hope you enjoyed seeing all of the makeup. Let me know below what you think of these products, and you know, if some of your favorites have appeared on this list as well. See you guys very soon in the next one. Take care. Bye.